Yeah, I was just telling Shumea that my father would somehow sing this last song, the Royal Choir, without any exertion at all noticeable on him. Even though it goes up and up and up and up, it's a hard song to sing. My brother Shmuel Victor would get very red in the face, and I can't sing it at all. I just like faked it a little bit, but in the old days I used to be able to sing it pretty good, but old man already. Okay, Shumea wants me to speak about myself. I want to speak about my great-great-grandmother Fege and other members of the family. Maybe that'll come later. Today we're going to speak about myself, and we're going to call this Confessions of an Independent Person. Now, before we start talking about Israel, the Schneider, that's me, will tell over a story that my father told. My father didn't tell over stories. If he told over a story, it was for Musar. It was about Musar. Instead of directly telling the person something, he would tell him a story. This story my father told when I was maybe 15 years old. The story is as follows. When he was studying in yeshiva, he learned in 3 yeshivas, in Sumayach, in Snovsk, this is in Belarus, in the Chavetz Chaim's yeshiva, and in Panovich, in Lita. In which yeshiva this story took place, I do not know. In any case, there was a person, we'll call him Rab Shmerel, or the Darshan HaMisken, the poor, pathetic preacher. Now this man had no place. It's not clear if anybody knew his name, or his family name was breslov. Called him Rab Shmerel. Even that is not known. I'm calling him Rab Shmerel. I don't even know his real name. So Rab Shmerel, he would go from yeshiva to yeshiva, and he would say his drushes. The question is, why did he join a yeshiva? It's so hard to join a yeshiva. You sit on a bench, you're up on a Gemara, and you sit there like everybody else. You get a chafusa. And then everybody goes to eat lunch, and you go to eat lunch also. So what's the problem? No, he was an independent, pathetic preacher. He didn't want to be under anybody's control. That they should tell him, don't sit here, sit there, or whatever it is. Yeshiva has control over him. He'll give him lunch, or he won't give him lunch. Forget it. That's not for him. He's independent. So he's roaming around from place to place. Again, this is happening either in World War I or after World War I. Now, one day, and the Bracham would gather, he would stand on the steps of the Aron Kodesh. In those days, the Aron Kodesh had steps. Today, in our modern world, even that's been taken away. But in the old days, it used to be makbid that the Aron Kodesh should have steps. It's a Pia Kabbalah, whatever it is. Right? The Yecheskel says the Aron Kodesh has to be sticking out of the wall, not in the wall, something like that. But okay, today,
parochas they have here. What? Next door, they don't have a parochas.
Okay, so
yeah, so the Arizal says.
What?
The Arizal says the importance of the parochas.
Anyways, today it's come as you want. But in those days they were makbid. Okay, so we lost a lot in the Shoah. Not only people and not only objects. We lost the whole appreciation for things. So he would stand on the steps of the Aron Kodesh. He would give his drasha. I don't know if each time he gave a new drasha or repeated himself. This I cannot tell you. In any case, the Baruchim would gather around. They would laugh a little bit at him and give him some kavod. They would listen, and maybe they would say it over. Maybe there was something to hear. One day, the pathetic preacher comes to my father's yeshiva, wherever it was, and he's not feeling well. He says he doesn't feel well. He lies down on the bench and he dies. So the Rosh Yeshiva, whoever it was, said he's a mes mitzvah. We don't know his family name. We don't know if he has wife, children, nothing. So it's up to the yeshiva to bury him. Okay, so they all went to the Levaya. This is the story that my father told. Now, what was the purpose of this story? What was the Musa? What was the Musa Haskel? I think my father was talking to me, even though he didn't speak specifically to me, he spoke to the whole family. And he was telling me that I'm too independent. He understood already at the age of 15 that I'm too independent. I'll never become anybody's talmid. And I can suffer the fate of that pathetic creature of dying a galmud, a person completely alone. And there's nobody even to take care of him. The yeshiva has to buy him tachrichim and bury him. So I should watch out. I think he understood this immediately, intuitively. Now, after a few years, I don't remember exactly when. I remember when I was 18 years old, I told my mother I want to get married. My mother Fega, I told her I want to get married. She looked at me that was crazy. In those days, people got married at 25, not at 18. So, and the reason that I wanted to get married was because of Kedusha things. I didn't want to have a mikshol and shmir sabris, which is not the right reason for getting married, by the way. You're supposed to get married, so you have children. You let them kedoshim. You let them Yehudim kedoshim. Not so you shouldn't blank off. Not to blank off. You can take a pill. Take a pill. Even though I didn't, I would have taken the pill if I would have known then that you can. I didn't. But I once asked my brother about it. He didn't know. Anyways, I was bothered by it. But the point is that the point that I'm trying to make is that at a certain point, I said, any girl who wants to marry me, I'll marry her. And that's what I did. I married 3 women in my life, and it's all because they wanted me. And I never said no to anybody. So what was I doing? I don't know. I thought I was having rachmanis on the women, that it's not good to say no to somebody, maybe you hurt their feelings or whatever it is. I thought I was being a big tzaddik. But it could be, I was playing chess with my father. My father had said that that's it, that I'm in danger of becoming the pathetic creature, the galmud. So I said, okay, that's the way it is. So I upped the ante. So I'm going to marry any woman who's ready to marry me. So I'll certainly marry somebody, and I'll certainly have children. So that's taken care of. Anyways, part of the syndrome, at least by me, not by Shumei. Shumei is totally independent, to the point of madness. But even Rabbi Nachman, who thousands and tens of thousands of people have taken him as his Rebbe, not the Shumei. He hasn't gotten Lumen yet. He's still independent. He's still he's still making his own cheshbon, if it's kedai for him. Anyways, it's bad. Anyways, so the thing is, I was independent, but I think, like the opposite side of the coin was that I wanted friends. Because I was so independent, and because I couldn't really relate to the people that everybody was relating to the Rosh Hashivas, to the Rebbes. So I wanted friends. It was very important for me to have friends. Like I was just asking Yeshua before about Levi Kletzky, who was a friend of mine in Yeshiva's breslov, and I was connected to him emotionally, and so on. So the point is, okay, now it comes
just to say a word of astrology, you say you want independence, yet you need friends. This is Mamash, your astrological map. You know, a tremendous amount of air, which Mamash needs friends, but independence, you're born on Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Chodesh, which is very independent type of people that go at their own.
So Yeshua wanted to find out about breslov. The thing with breslov, in other words, it's like Be'eron Mugbal. When I came to breslov in Tafshin Lamed, let's say, 1970, there were a lot of old men still alive, like old men who had gathered from the 4 corners of the earth, from Argentina and from Uruguay, and I don't know from where else. People, survivors of the Holocaust, who had spread out all over the world to run away from Hitler, they came back to Yerushalayim because they had the Nakuda of Rabbi Nachman of breslov to be in Yerushalayim, to be in Eretz Yisrael, to die and be buried in Yerushalayim. So it was like 25 old men sitting around the table in the morning before Shachris learning Mishnayos. Very impressive sight. And it affected me, for sure. But I wasn't ready to become anybody's talmid, right? I'm sure all these old men had interesting stories to tell. But if I would have become someone's Talmud and asked him to tell me a story, I would have become a Shubat to him. I would have to take care of him, fold up his talis and tefillin. He's old. I wasn't ready to do that. That's not what I told myself. I told myself I'm shy. I remember one I think it was a Mitzvah Shabbos, when I was already married to my first wife, I was saying, I want to go to, when I was living in Tel Arza, I want to go to Rabbi Chanan Spector, who lived in Tel Arza also by his daughter. I couldn't get myself to do it. So I was explaining it's because I'm shy. But I think the real reason was I couldn't bring myself.
Rabbi Elchanan Spector was the one that wrote over the Chazon Ish's books, and a famous letter. We have to say who he is a little bit, though. Tell our listeners.
Rabbi Elchanan Spector was a very big person. He had been the Talmud of a Rebbe in Poland, maybe the Porus of a Rebbe, I'm not sure exactly. And when he left his Rebbe said, I want to close up the whole business. He was so important to his Rebbe. He was such a real emissary chassid, a totally serious person. And even though he was a part of the show, and that's a good chiddush, to be so serious. And there's much to tell about Rabbi Chanan Spector. Maybe we'll be zecher to tell. I mean, there's books. He's not a forgotten person. He's not a forgotten person. People remember him in Breslov. Baruch Hashem. Today, what's happening in Breslov today, more and more information is coming out of the so-called forgotten generations of Breslov, right? In other words, we're holding by the 7th generation of Breslov, and from Rabbi Nachman to Rabbi Nosson, etc., 7 generations, and it's worked on. I mean, consciously, unconsciously, the Breslovs they're trying to make each figure that it should be remembered. And the Rebbe himself said, "You will not be forgotten." The Rebbe himself said. The Rebbe gave a haftocha. He said there'll be stories to tell about every one of you. In other words, that the Rebbe gave a haftocha that nobody's going to be forgotten. There'll be stories to encompass the yichudiyut, the specialty of each Breslov chassid. Just like each Breslov